pleased to present for your consideration.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Jabberbox Podcast, episode 19. I'm one of your hosts, Andy Bond, and with me is a very special guest, Jeremey Bochenek. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
It's good to chat with you.
Yeah, right?
We had a little pre-show talk, but it's we tried to not go too deep on anything. So
yeah. Just get the juices flowing, really.
Yeah, really. Without holding back, it's really cool. I'm just trying to get a bunch of new things in my life started. I have like a lot of new pathways I'm going down. So it's really interesting for me to kind of just kick off everything I'm doing with just starting this with you.
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely get into that a little bit. No problem. So if you're joining in for the very first time, then you should know that this show is about the two of us as we ramble on through pop culture topics such as, but not limited to, games, movies, shows, and whatever else we want to jabber about. You can get this show over on youtube.com/dandydigital or over on Spotify and iTunes by searching Jabberbox and hitting that subscribe button. If you like what you hear and want to be part of the show, then head on over to patreon.com/dandydigital. One of the first things I want to get into for housekeeping is that Dan is out. He will be out for the next couple of weeks. He's got some weddings to go to. He's got some funerals to go to. He's got some family stuff to take care of, both good and such. So we will be having a rotating chair in, and today is Jeremey. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. So like you said, we just kind of jumped into it a little bit, had a little pre-show chat. But it's good, man. Yeah. I've been trying to get you on here for a while, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we've known each other for a bit, but we've never really sat down and chatted, you know? Yeah. So this is a cool chance to actually do that. So, yeah, I guess where should we start?
So I just want to let people know, we met when I worked at GameStop. That's how I first met you. You would come in, as a customer, and we just started bullshitting about games. It was more of just wasn't the traditional, I'm here to pick up this game. Okay, thanks. See you later.
Yeah, because I just kind of knew you. I just ended up knowing you at some point.
Oh, it's like I felt like we actually had conversation. Yeah. It's just okay. Like, hey, Jeremey, here he is, man. Like, how you doing? It's shit like that. So that was things where it's like, okay, hit me up on Facebook or whatever. Trying to be cool about it. But then it's like once we did that, then I learned actually a whole lot more to you, such as you being in a band, right? So tell me a little bit about that. I mean, from what I've seen, you are the ex-guitarist of Bella Lune. So what was your experience being in that, and how has it shaped, being your musician, your musical career?
I mean, it really has, in some ways, a lot. And I think even if it's something like kind of small, having a chance to actually go out there and do things, like go on tour, and even if it's just a small capacity, the difference between having the opportunity to do that and not can just lead to so many more things,
right?
And I know that we hear that all the time over and over, but it's just one of those things that it's a pain in the ass to do. So
yeah,
that's why we don't do it all the time.
I mean, when did you join the band?
About, I think I want to say 2011. And the story that I never really told you how it happened. I don't think. I'd known the singer for a while, and I had been in other bands even before Bella Loon where I was playing with them, and I was playing with. Do you remember that? Do you remember Ron Underwood?
Mm-hmm.
He's like from Opiate for the Masses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was playing with him for a while, and we done some stuff for like TV, but that's where I really started to get like my like credibility up, and I started was doing like more regularly shows and started working in like a higher capacity than like all the teenager garage band stuff that I had been doing,
Right.
And so Ron really introduced me to that professional world. And so I had known Bella Loon for a while and been friends with them, and just was always just doing something just totally different than them musically. So we never played shows together much or anything like that. Until we did start playing shows together, actually. But this was, I think we did that after I started playing with Bella Loon. So they had a tour lined up. I kind of got lucky, right? So they were going to do a tour in Japan that they had lined up, and their guitarist couldn't make it. I've known them for forever.
So you just,
I was already playing guitar in other bands, and they needed somebody. And I was like, so, we're just kind of like hanging out at the bar one night and everything. And, it's towards the end of the night and everyone's kind of like a little tipsy and stuff like that. But, you hear me all right still?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, everyone's just like a little tipsy and stuff like that. And finally, I don't know. She just mentioned it. She mentioned that, oh, Eric can't go because he's not able to play guitar, and he doesn't want to travel to Japan because he's scared, and like all this, like just kind of, there's a bunch of different reasons and stuff. And
yeah,
I was like, well, cool. I guess I could. I was like, I'll do it. And then, so I think like 6 a.m. the next day, I call her and she doesn't answer. I call her like 15 times. She doesn't answer. And I'm like, what is going on? We talked about it last night. We were pretty drunk though. Right. So
right.
I was just like, and then, come to find that, she just, she just didn't take me seriously. Like she just thought it was like me just being silly and being like, oh yeah, I will go do that.
Yeah.
Cause they were leaving in 2 weeks, or they were leaving in 2.5 weeks. And that was not a lot of time to learn like a hour-long set,
right.
Of music that you've never played before. So she didn't even call me until like the second day. Like literally, she slept all Sunday or something like that, and then Monday I'm stuck. Call her again, and she answers. I'm like, "What is going on? I've been trying to get a hold of you. Like I thought we only have like 2 weeks. Blah blah blah. I've been already looking at your songs online, but it'd be a lot easier if I had somebody to help me. Like we need to be practicing together. I got to be down there." And she was like, "Whoa, what? Were you serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it. Right. And then I went down, and eventually, everyone in the band kind of became family to me. Nice. From there on out. And stuff. And then
you're like, yeah, serious? Were you not?
Yeah. And then at that time I was working at American Express. And I was, at the call center and stuff, but I was bringing my guitar in all day long, like practicing the songs, learning them, had earphones in one ear, talking to people in this ear, playing guitar like this, got to get that section. And I like literally, I had to like do something with my brain that I've never even done before, which was digest, 45 minutes of music in like a week and a half and play it perfectly and then while you're also like getting your work time scheduled off, like prepping to go to Japan, getting your stuff ready, getting your, all that travel stuff out of the way. So I managed to pull it off. I just was like, I spearheaded it. And, I guess my point is back to what I was saying originally is it was like, when I say, I guess you could say the journey, right?
Right.
It was that journey that really pushed me as a musician to learn stuff that quickly, make me realize that I can, and then make other people realize that I can. And then all of a sudden, after that, a lot of other bands were hitting me up. I was doing a little bit of session playing in studios and stuff like that. And so it did help kind of boost a lot of stuff for me. even if it wasn't like, I think we only were gone for like a week when we went to Japan, like week and a half. So it wasn't like it was this crazy like 2-month festival tour everywhere,
No.
But
but even then, like a week, a lot of bands, their week consists of, doing 1 or 2 shows home, moving to maybe the next city over. And then if they're lucky, they'll hit a single city the next state over, which is a big deal for them. And now you're, setting up in 2 weeks to go overseas to a country, that I'm assuming you've never been to before, to play in a band that you've never played with, so like
I have been there before. So
okay.
That was part of the reason they wanted me to go, because I actually knew people there, and like I was like, oh, I can help get us a show. I know the guy who does that and stuff. And I went to Japan when I was like 16, saving up that GameStop money.
Yeah.
Because I worked there too. Too for like many years. Yeah. And I remember just like putting away, like I finally got like $800, $900, and I was like ready to go to Japan. And my parents were like, no. But we're going to have to help you a little bit. Yeah. So, my friends gave me some money, my parents gave me some money, and I saved up some money, and I was able to make it happen. Nice. And I went, and it was the time of my life. I went with some of my friends, his older brothers. He had like an older brother with a bunch of friends. They were all like our age now, like 30, 31, 32, and they all decided to go to Japan. And me and him just kind of tagged along. So it was a good opportunity. And then, and then Bellaloon again. Awesome.
So were you only part of Bellaloon for the time that you were over there, just as a substitute, or did you stick with the band for a period of time after that?
Yeah, I pretty much stayed with them. Yeah, I pretty much stayed with them after that.
So how long did you stay with them?
4 years.
4 years?
Yeah, probably like 4 years. And I'm still kind of like with them now in spirit, I just, I started doing other things. I got really overwhelmed, and I started getting frustrated that, I wasn't working on some of my own stuff too.
Right. Yeah. Personal creativity.
Yeah. I had a big issue with limits for some reason. And so I guess and it was sometimes easier to like, oh, I'll just help this guy out with this thing instead of like working on my stuff, because my stuff is harder. It's more effort, So I would still stay really busy. And of course I was working on music, but I was doing a lot of like producing and recording bands and stuff like that too. So, and unfortunately you get a little bit more money doing that than playing shows.
Yeah.
And,
which sucks on its own, because that's like you have your job that's going to make you the money, and a lot of times that's not going to bring you the same level of happiness that it would if you were on stage, playing that stuff.
Yeah, totally.
I get it. I mean, that's doing like the art stuff on my end. That's why I still have that day job, and it makes me miserable to do that,
Yeah.
But I am not at a level to where this kind of stuff is going to be able to make it for me, at this moment. So, I mean, with all this freelance work that I've been doing and, doing my own creativity, like what you said with your music and your own stuff, like I get that way a little bit. And I'm kind of feeling that way this year, where it's like, I haven't done anything that's mine in almost 2 years. Because I've been working on these sets for these projects, and it is starting to get frustrating, because now things are starting to build up, and it's starting to fire off on different cylinders, and I'm okay. Let me put notes here. Let me do a sketch here, and I'll get to it. Like I have a whole roster of these weird characters for another series I want to do, but I'm just so busy doing other things that it's starting to frustrate me in that way. So I can see where you're coming from on that one.
Yeah, I think there's a big question. That's just like, what the? Can we cuss on here, or we try not to?
Yeah, no. Feel free.
Yeah, okay. Then I was gonna say, like, what the fuck are we really doing here as humans? And like, literally, we have so much luxury. We're sitting here able to talk about it right now, and we don't really think about it the right way, like a lot, I think we are. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are like, well, I guess I've always said this, like working with computers and technology. I think it's kind of funny that like always feel like, hey, didn't we make all these computers and cell phones and wireless satellites and stuff so we could like do less work
Yeah.
and like more cool things, and not like continue to just grind ourselves into things that machines could do anyways? Like maybe it's not bad that machines do shit. Maybe we just change like their mentality. But that could just be a utopian dream. But maybe there's some kind of balance. It looks like Elon Musk has a hair up his ass about trying to do something positive.
Yeah.
So.
And that is like a needle in a haystack on its own, because a lot of people aren't trying to do things to make it easier. They're trying to do things to make more money, which makes it easier probably for that particular person, but it adds a lot of work for the race overall. I'm in agreement of that. I think that we should try to alleviate some of that business. I mean, like you said, with the computers, these things can run constantly, so we should be able to set things up to allow us to work while we're not working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost like we're trying to shape everybody into being an engineer almost, because we're working with so much tech, but then we're not pushing ourselves to reach that level. Now we're always entry level for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I guess, I kind of think of it too like this. Like, okay, if a construction worker took him 8 hours to build a wall 200 years ago, but now because of machines, we can do it in 30 minutes. All right, give that guy the rest of the day off. That's what I'm saying. Like, we let him go home with his family. He did the wall. You're happy now? Like, but
exactly.
Because we have to keep improving, and we keep chasing, and we keep like, sometimes it's healthy and sometimes it's great, but sometimes it feels like it's like a sickness, So
I think it's okay to chase and to be that creative, but we're moving so far into the future, except in the case of mental breaks and being healthy and stuff, like, you know what I mean, taking care of the workers. We're pushing that kind of stuff a little bit too far in some aspects, not in the right ways, as you stated. But,
it's kind of like the Wild West, but at least people are trying, I guess, to have that conversation. And workplaces the whole situation has made workplaces more understanding. But
yeah,
I don't know. I guess that
Go ahead.
What's up? I don't know. I was going to ramble on something. What's up? What were you going to say?
So you're not officially, I guess, a part of Belle Lune, as you said, it was a spirit. You've now kind of worked on those projects of your own, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you started your own band, which is completely yours, correct? You're not joining anybody for that. This is your baby, essentially.
Yeah. So eventually, like around year 4 of Belle Lune, I had been, writing a bunch of these songs for so long on my own, and they were all, very like, heavy metal, like Slipknot and like J-Rock and Korn, kind of inspired, in that era. But there was a lot of things I didn't like about like that era of music as well. And there's a lot of stuff that I really loved about like Japanese music, but I also found like sometimes it just wasn't as like palatable to not super extreme audiences. So I don't know. I tried to find this, like, I was searching for this kind of glue with this sound that was kind of a fresh metal sound, I guess. And that was like a while back. So I was writing all those songs like while I was in Belle Lune. This was like right when like dubstep, this was like 2013, 14, when dubstep was kind of like,
taking over
the thing. Yeah. And I didn't incorporate any dubstep into the songs, but I incorporated a lot of like, just dancey, groovier beats and weird stuff and heavy stuff, and experimented a lot with my vocals and stuff. I think that this album is like the stuff I was working on was a lot of experimentation during that time. And I definitely pulled a little bit from, I don't think I pulled from Bellaloon quite a bit, but not a ton with that album, because I was playing with Bellaloon while I was writing it. So that was like my way to play something that was totally different than the stuff I was playing in Bellaloon.
Makes sense. So with you being your own, like you're the sole creative train behind this, what can you explain how you might compose what's your process for creating your song, like your single that you did, Venom? And what was your process? How did you go about doing that?
So a big hang up with me on a lot of this stuff, like this is why I was telling you before, I'm like kind of funny, is like, I kind of held up this whole project for 2 years because I couldn't think of the right name. I didn't like the names that I had. And then finally I came on Orphine and I was like, okay, that's pretty good. I can roll with that. 2 years. 2 years, right? So like I already had most of the songs like demoed out and like almost mostly done, you know what I'm saying? So but once I found the name though, that kind of like solidified things a little bit more for me and stuff. I forgot where I was going with this. What did you ask me originally?
What the creative process of composing work for the new project for Orphine?
Yeah. So, well, I started writing a lot. I guess like if I kind of I wrote back then a lot of like riff based stuff, right? So a lot of Orphine stuff is kind of similar to the stuff I'm writing now. That's going to be new, but still, the stuff I was writing during my time with Bellaloon and back in like 2013, 14, which is the stuff I have now completed. It was all mostly me like playing my acoustic guitar, and sitting down and my theory was like, if I could get a riff, like a guitar riff to sound like really badass on the acoustic guitar and like heavy, that like if I translated that over to the electric, it would just be awesome. So, a lot of it would start with me just kind of doing that, just like waiting till I had like this most awesome, like Venom, for example.
Yeah.
The beginning of that song, you can totally hear that I wrote the song that way. If you go and listen to it, right, you'll be like, cool riff, guitar riff, okay, and you're like, and then I was like, sweet, that riff is awesome. And I sat down there and I used to put all my stuff into Guitar Pro, which is like a little MIDI program where you write everything out. And I would write out and I would sit there and painstakingly, at first, I got a lot better at it over the years, but I'd be like, okay, 0, 1, 3, 3, 4, 5, 8, and I enter all the numbers and everything, right? And basically spend countless hours entering, sheet music. But I also went to school for it too. So like we were doing that in school. Like we had to put, music together and stuff like that. And I was in other bands that used like Sibelius and other things like that. I was playing this J-rock band for a while. They were really fun. It was really challenging music though. So that I gained a lot from that and it was cool. But yeah, really it was just kind of putting different ideas down together into like a program in Guitar Pro, keeping my good ideas there. And then eventually I translated those. I brought all of those like MIDI recordings for Guitar Pro. Oh, no. It was quite the process actually.
Yeah.
I don't do it this way anymore. Back then I was like, just so ambitious, and I was like, and I wanted to, and I felt like I had a lot to overcome. Like I felt like my skill level and my talent wasn't up to par. So I felt like I had to put a lot of extra time and extra energy and extra effort into certain things and redo them over and over and over to get them to be to a point to where like somebody else would think they were good. And that's a whole different story.
Right.
That's a little bit about what I was talking about earlier, So the quick way to say it is just, I'd take my tracks, make the MIDIs of them in like Guitar Pro. Then I'd go bring them to my buddy Parker, and we would basically Like I'd have my buddy Mike do drums, and I'd already have the drums written out and sheet music, and we'd already practiced it as a band. So I had like a whole like band that I put together, and I did a couple like fake live shows with this band, but they weren't really in the band. They just wanted to like get together and learn some music and play some live shows. Right.
Yeah.
But then later on, I started working with another drummer who was going to be like my drummer for the album, and his name's like Mike Susi. So the drums are intense. I wrote all the drums like on sheet music and in the programs. But then I worked with Mike for another month, like redoing drum fills, finding different little pockets and stuff like that with him, and then we kind of changed the drums around a little bit and massaged them. But then outside of that, I worked with a couple other friends on, some of the instruments, got a little bit of pointers and stuff like that. And after tying it all together, I went into record and, took vocal lessons. Recording took me like a year and a half because after I got all the instrumentation down, I was like, damn it, I'm not happy with my voice. I got to go get vocal lessons for a while. So it was a big process for me to get this stuff done and to get this stuff out, because as a one person, I kind of wanted to do the whole thing and do it my way. It was like extra difficult, right?
You're kind of being the Dave Grohl, essentially.
Yeah,
right.
Because, I've done music with other things and written music for some, other movies here and there and some TV shows, and done some other little things with bands and stuff here and there. But for me, it was not always so personal,
right?
And it wasn't like something that I felt like, oh, this is going to be following me around for the rest of my life. Or this is something that I kind of intended, like, oh, when I put this out, I wanted to be happy enough with it that like I won't ever look back and be like, oh, that was a waste, So
for the way that your creative process and like your thought process for creating Venom, is that the same process that you're using, or are you in a different mindset, or
I kind of had gotten into
what's your setting for like Algorithm of Hate, because you're working on that one, and I saw that you posted that, like title that you're working on it, it's coming in.
Yeah.
Is that the process for Venom? Is that a different process for like what you're doing for Algorithm of Hate, like your mindset and like how you're working on the music itself?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of take a different approach to each song sometimes. I wouldn't say that there's always a uniform approach. Sometimes it's the riff will inspire it and stuff. But I will say in this album, and a lot of the stuff I was writing back then, it was very riff inspired, so it was very about like me trying to find that really cool riff that just has a solid groove and like, feels good. And then I really focused on like strong chorus melodies too. I guess like, Algorithm of Hate, I wrote the song. The thing is for me is I usually write the music first, and then I come at the lyrics like a year later. I almost like I do my songs, they sit around for a while, and then when I go back and listen to them, and if any of them strike me again, I go, yes, I'm going to write lyrics to this one. And that's when I really, because even though there's only 7 songs on here on the album, I probably wrote like 30, 40.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Which seems to be the case for a lot of musicians, where it's get it out and then you kind of check off the boxes.
Yeah, I had like 40 Guitar Pro sessions with all these different ideas and different things, and I tried to take the ones that I felt were the strongest and the best and, put them together and stuff like that.
Cool.
So yeah, that's it. And then when it comes to doing I really want a strong melody for the chorus. I really, I kind of, Algorithm of Hate, like a lot of these songs do mean a little bit to me. There's a song called Cauterize on the album, which is like actually the main song, which I haven't even like really talked about. I'm going to promote that like down the line, maybe do a video for it or something like that. But that one is pretty cool, and like, there's a couple songs like that one, Algorithm of Hate, that I feel like just came out of me, Yeah. And I get really attached to those songs, the ones that are easy and just like come out of you naturally. And, and you're feeling it, and you spend like 2 weeks working on it and writing it, or maybe a month, and the whole time you're in that headspace, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of how, like, you know, Algorithm came about. It's obviously, that's a pretty angry song, and you know, even the name Algorithm of Hate, it's kind of, you know, just about,
It lets your listener know what kind of ride they're in for, or, you know, what to expect, essentially. You know, it's not like sunshine meadows and, you know, like, oh, okay, you know, and you totally blindside them. So,
but
and you've shown off a little bit of that online, right? Because like on Instagram.
Yeah, I might be doing the video tomorrow, or I might wait till Sunday on actual Halloween, which I might do.
Awesome.
And
tap into the weakness of the veil to summon it, you know, summon the spirits of rock.
yeah. So, you know, I do a lot of production stuff too. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I mean, I put in my computer, and I add synths, and I you know, use my keyboards, and you know, I was really particular about different type of drum tones and all different types of things like that, you know, and I was really particular about the sound that I created because I was an engineer, you know. But I feel like after I recorded all these songs, I became a musician,
right?
You know, like after. So these are definitely like the best of the stuff I was writing at the time, but this is definitely like my entry level into it. But yeah, I think there's a few songs where I almost think of like the meaning of the song and the lyrics before I actually come up with the riffs and stuff like that. And those are the ones that they just kind of come out of me, like, and those are great because it's like an idea of like concept, and just, you don't get stuck, you don't get frustrated.
Right.
So
cool. So because you're still working on the album, do you have a projected date of when you're looking to release?
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So yeah, or I mean, actually, if you want a little secret, it's on iTunes right now. So if anyone wants to go check it out, and you can listen to it after this, you know.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so it's Orphine. What's the name of the album?
Yeah, Orphine. It's called Cauterize.
Awesome, and it's on iTunes now.
And I came up with that name. Just, you know, it is about me, like, kind of singeing a bunch of wounds, you know, and stuff. The album itself, it does. The reason I had trouble with it, like releasing it and talking about it almost, is because it was very personal. And I guess, you know, at the time that I was writing a lot of that stuff, I was like dealing with a lot. And, you know, that song Cauterize, which is the name of the album too, is, you know, it's particularly about dealing with like suicide and stuff like that, and mental health and things like that. And that's kind of why I, you know, I was talking about that a little bit earlier too. And then the song follows that is pretty good too. It's called Finalize. And that one is, you know, I want these to be about whatever people want them to interpret them as. You know, it's not any, like, some lines and lyrics and things that I write have nothing to do with what I think the song is about. You know what I mean? It's just like the source that I pulled from, you know, for that track. So Finalize is actually about, you know, when I was 20, my dad got killed, and it's about me going through that process. So the song prior to that is about dealing with suicide, right? And then that one is like about me becoming okay with the whole process of like losing somebody. So, yeah, you know, I think I did a pretty good job at like capturing those emotions and things like that. And I think it's gonna be pretty great. But I'm very timid when it comes to my music, and I'm very shy. So
now I get it, man. So it's awesome to see that it's out, because I heard that you were working on it. You had told me that you're hoping to get it out by Halloween, and that's good. And I mean, I would think this for musicians, but more generally for the creative, is we are protective of our ideas and our pieces of work, regardless of if they're amazing. You know what I mean? Like Metallica's Black Album, they didn't know that they were going to make this thing that was going to be taking over the world for them. They were just creating music. And then there's other things that other bands will do where it's like, you know, it doesn't strike chords for certain people, but it does for other people. And I mean, I think for the creative, like if you like it, like you as, you know, the musician, if you like your work, you got that human part of you that wants people to like it. But if you're happy with it, then that's at the end of the day, you know, what you can with it. Enjoy that process. Enjoy your creative. Enjoy these songs that you did from scratch. You know, and it's out there. That's awesome, man. Well, cool. I look forward to checking out the album for sure. I wanted to kind of switch lanes a little bit, still on the freeway of the music. So you're doing your band. You have Orphine. Go check out the album, everybody. But you also compose music. Yeah, and you're doing that for video games, such as the MX vs. ATV series and Monster Jam, right?
Mm-hmm. And we have a new MX vs. ATV game coming out early next year too, that I'm busy working on some stuff for that. And and I think, you know, for me it's really cool because I have a lot of things coalescing into the together in the whole music, and like just a lot of the stuff that I've done over the years, you know, working in studios, working in production and doing this and doing that, it's all like clicking and starting to make sense and come together, you know. So we're working on a new game right now. I mean, I don't know where to start. You know, the video game thing really came about because of my continued pursuit and endless passion for music, right? And sound and stuff like that. So, and just taking every opportunity I could, you know, and just hitting it as hard as I could. But I don't know, where should we start with that? What do you think?
So, okay. Obviously, because you've been in the music, how does working on bands such as Orphine and Bella Loon, how does that translate, or does it translate into creating, you know, musical scores for these video games?
For me, it's so different. You know, for me, like, this is what I was trying to say before too. It's like my album that I'm putting that is out. I am more like, that was so hard, you know, like to do those. But if it comes to someone being like, hey, we need music for this scene, this, and this, I'm just like, okay, cool. Here we go. Right. Because I'm detached from it, you know? So when I do stuff for something, I do get like, you know, even sound design. So I do a sound design for the games as well. And that's actually how I had the music career thing going, and then I got my foot into the game stuff through being an audio engineer. And then I was like, music. And then I brought music into the mix at the game studio, you know? So after a couple of years of doing the audio, so I finally was able to, like, you know, start to tie that all together. And yeah, so I guess like when it comes to composing and the creative side of it, I just don't really have I get really into the when we were doing Monster Jam 2 and we were kind of working on that during the shutdown. I was working on it with my buddy Stefan, who's someone we actually just recently hired. I had just recently hired. He's awesome. He's been making my life so much easier because I've been a one-man show forever over there. And he worked on the soundtrack with me too, and he did a bunch of really great work as well. So more recently, I've been trying to go down the road of working with composers and stuff like that. Whereas when I first started off, I was, just kind of taking on whatever job was there to get done myself. If I had to write something. But now I have so much going on. Our games are bigger. And we're usually working on like 2 or 3 at once. I'm trying to learn how to delegate, But I'll say like on Monster Jam 2, I mean, there was probably a good like month where me and Stefan lived inside every area in that game. Like in our heads, all we would talk about, all we'd think about. And I'd be like, the in this swamp over here, the frogs need to sound like this. Like they need that sound. And he'd be like, yeah, they do. And I'm like, and then the music, it needs to be perfect, just like this, And I was working with, I was also working with Nicholas O'Toole, who was helping me out on that. Cause we had to do like 36 monster truck, songs for like every single truck. Right. So it's like, I did a few, but I'll let Nick do the other ones. Cause I'm like busy fixing bugs and doing stuff like that. So, but I'm starting to, I was a little like bitter about it for a second because I wanted to be more hands-on, but I'm starting to really love the fact that I can sit back and kind of orchestrate stuff now and then even work with like people and even like some of the stuff I'm doing for the new game, I'm actually getting to work with some artists that I never thought I would ever get to talk to, and that to me, that's really cool, and I'm being able to kind of produce and collaborate and bring a song together from like two big artists that would never normally work together. I'm really enjoying that kind of stuff right now, like sitting back and stuff like that. And I guess kind of controlling the vision, but when I get the creative process for me is, I have a moment where I get extremely in whatever it is that I'm doing. And it's very easy for me just to know what is right and what isn't right and just do, what I have to do. But when it comes to me doing my own stuff, it's just personal. And I try to pull from my heart. So
From your work on the MX versus ATV series and the Monster Jam, do you find yourself interested in the real life counterparts of that? Like, were you interested in monster trucks and the dirt bike racing and stuff like that? Or was this just like a job that you did and you don't really feel that way? Or you're not interested in it, or did it bring any interest to it?
Well, I used to BMX race when I was a teenager. So, I started working on the game. It was a little bit alien to me. And then I went to one of the Supercross races to go record stuff, like when there was nobody racing, like the day before. And the artist went there to take pictures and like meet people and stuff like that. And when I smelled the dirt on the track, I was like, oh, I know that smell. And then, I kind of got into it, really heavy into it, started going out. I started riding with my buddy a little bit. I ended up, when I was doing the audio recordings, I ended up taking a 450 around the track myself. Laid it down. I didn't wreck it. I laid it down a few times, but I think I did like 12, 15 laps before I gave up and said, I'm too tired. I can't do anymore. But at the time I was working so much. I was like, I'm in better shape now, but back then I wasn't. But still, it's not easy taking those bikes around an actual track. You got to do those 450s are a lot of weight, and you're catching air going down these little jumps. So I think working on the games did kind of rekindle my love for racing and controlling things. And I took my car to a racetrack a few times, just all hyped up on the idea of racing. So
cool. So now I want to pull away just for a little bit before we move on from your work and stuff like that. But one of the things I wanted to talk about before we move on is that you did a Monster Energy commercial that was playing on Jumbotrons. Or at least you were working on that. So that seemed like it was a couple years, like 2010 almost, from what I saw, or something like that. So how did you get into doing that? Was like the earlier stuff?
That would have been like 2015, 2016. 2014 maybe. Yeah, it was so about the time that I started working here at the game studio, one of the guys, Mike, that worked there, he does those videos for the Jumbotron.
Okay.
See where I'm going with this, right? So
Yeah.
eventually he hits me up, hey, I need songs for like some of these and we haven't had any, do you want to do them? And this was around the time too where I was like trying to advocate for like my musicianship or whatever at the company, and
Right.
Mike was like trying to help me, like, oh, just do this, and then like they'll see that, oh, if you did the music for the thing. But yeah, so really he just asked me to do it, and I sent him a few demos, and he was like, dude, this is cooler than anything we've ever had. And once we put it in, people really loved it. It became like pretty, like people were commenting on it all the time, saying it was a cool track, asking who wrote it. And then I didn't have Orphine together at the time, so it was one of those things that I was like, I had a band to like point everybody to, or an artist name, So
Right.
but that's how that came about, And then
That's awesome.
I'm supposed to be writing a new one right now.
But you're here with me.
Yeah, it's been 2 months. I've been supposed to be writing a new one. So, but I just got a new, I'm putting my album out. I'm finishing up my old stuff. I just got a new set of studio monitors. I got my dream guitar on the way next week. I am more like pumped than I've been in like 5-6 years to actually start doing music, and just even to me, just writing again and writing stuff that challenges me,
That's awesome.
Not lazy writing,
Right. Yeah. Challenges your mind, challenges your skill. That's awesome, man. It sounds like you got some seriously cool shit coming. So that's I'm glad to hear that you're doing so well and you're going in a direction that you like.
Yeah, and I will say that, doing the game stuff and working with, and when I did finally got to the point to where I started working with other major artists to building our soundtracks for MX vs. ATV, that just gave me a good opportunity to make a lot of other connections and friends, and then also learn. My ears at the floor, trying to learn what trends are, learning what different things in music, and it just kind of brought me closer to the living, breathing world of the industry of music.
Right.
And I think that that's probably shaped a little bit of where I want to go with things now. But I think at this first album was kind of just me, like earlier version of me a little bit,
right? Like exploring, doing your
exploring a little bit more. Yeah,
nice, man. Well, cool. So thanks for talking about that.
Yeah, sure.
When you're not doing all that, when you're not doing your bands, when you're not creating music for games and going out and doing your paintball and doing your motocross, races. I mean, you like to play. What do you like to do on your off time?
Of course, I'm a huge gamer.
So what systems you got? Yeah, what systems you got?
Everything, man. I got the. Okay, you want to know the truth?
Yeah.
You can't judge me for this. Okay. I'm really liking the Xbox a lot. So I have a Series X, and I have a Series S, and I have another Series S, and I'm letting my friend borrow. I want to, because I want to play stuff with him, and and so, but my philosophy on that was I bought them both the S's. I got them for like their actual retail price at $300, and I was like, okay, anytime I want to turn around, I can sell them for like $350, no problem. So I'll just keep them. When people come over, we can like play dual screen. But I'm kind of a console gamer. I have a PC. I have a strong PC at work. I play on PC and stuff a lot. But I do like controllers a lot, and I've been really loving the Series X. The only thing I don't have is a PS5. It's the only thing I don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my main one. So that's what I will main on the PlayStation. I was able to get the PS5 when they did the pre-orders. I was one of the lucky ones.
Now.
Yeah. So I have that. I have the Series X. I have the Nintendo Switch. It sounds like you're kind of like us in that you like to play games. You're not focused on one ecosystem. You just like to play games wherever they land.
Yeah. I do. Yeah, I absolutely. So I have a kind of very strange philosophy with my gaming stuff, right? So I don't have a PS5 right now, but I'm going to have one when they put out the PS5 Pro. And I'm going to do everything Sony. I'm going to get their new VR thing, and it's going to be like 3 years of Sony for me, right?
Yeah.
Right now I'm doing an Xbox phase, right? And so I got a little burnt out on Nintendo, so I let my friend borrow my Switch. My buddy, he lives pretty close, so I'll go to his house and play Smash Brothers like once or twice, like once a week or once every 2 weeks. I'll pop by and say hi, and I'll be like, "Hey, let's play Donkey Kong and Smash," and he'll be like, "All right," So, but the reason I do that is I tend to get distracted, so I need to segment. If I have all my consoles like at the ready, I've done it before.
Yeah,
it's never ending for me. I'll go down the rabbit hole. I won't even play a game. I'll just put them in and watch the intros to like 15, 20, 30 different games and be like, nice. I mess with my TV settings for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So I have to do certain things. So like right now I have my Xbox 360 and my Series X too. So I'm just doing an Xbox thing. I'm trying to hit up all the exclusives that I missed that got stuck on that 360 or on Xbox only.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that same thing with Sony. PS5 to me is gonna be a freaking Sony first party machine.
Man, you're in for some treats. Like God of War.
I know.
That was a real nice one.
Wait.
Oh man. And then I'm assuming by the time you start doing that, God of War 2 or Ragnarok, the next one will be out. So you're gonna get those two games on top of each other, and you're gonna be able to just get a full story and be done with that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to keep myself away from Sony and PlayStation right now because in like a year or two, I'm gonna get the Pro and just like go all in, and do it. So, but you're probably getting all the fun stuff now, but you know what it's in store for me. In like a couple of years, I'm gonna get like this huge, like I'm gonna have like a month of just don't talk to me.
Man.
Yeah. So yeah,
well,
I
when you
kind of
get
like building that up.
And you want to know the games, you let me know. Like I can run it through you. I can run
like Ghost of Tsushima.
That'll be cool, dude.
I know they're
you say the word.
and
you want to do multiplayer on that one? I'm in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would be super fun. And I might get a PS5. Like I'm a kind of person too. Like if I happen to be in Best Buy and they have a PS5,
you'll grab it.
I'm gonna get it. Yeah. Like if I see it and it's sitting there and it's literally just for sale, I'd be like, it might be like a year until that's the case though.
Yeah.
But who knows? If I love games so much, dude, that I would go buy one off of eBay if I like wasn't satisfied with my Xbox right now. But I have
thank your Xbox for that then, because otherwise you'd be spending those scalper prices.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been really enjoying like Halo. I've been going through that, kind of getting pumped up for Infinite and stuff like that too. Checking out Sea of Thieves, a lot of that, because I was not an Xbox person for like, I wouldn't say hated, but I was just like
for it.
Yeah. And let's be honest. The Xbox One OG was a joke. It was a terrible console. It was like, not ready. The games were bad. Everything ran worse on it. It was just like, they didn't have any advantages. And I feel like as a brand, they were very off at that time too. So anyways, yeah, I kind of dipped out from Xbox for a while.
Yeah, I kind of did that for the Xbox One. For that console, I'm with you on that. It wasn't done well. But I did come around. I was interested in the Xbox Series X. I was going to get it. PS5 was my first one that I got for the new gen. Then I got the Series X. And I've had the Switch. I do Nintendo and Sony mostly, and then I'll jump in for the exclusives for Xbox. I'm excited for Halo. I do want to play that. I'm trying to go through the Halo Master Chief Collection just to replay it a little bit.
I'll go through that with you any day. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. We'll
yeah.
talk about
I love
it after
MCC.
this.
Yeah. like I'm a big Halo nerd too. That's the other thing I gotta say. Like I read the books even. Like I got 20 and 30 Halo books in that corner over there, and I've read 12 of them.
Yeah, that's Dan.
Sad.
He's a Halo nut. We actually got him a pre-order of the Halo Infinite Series X, the special edition.
What? I'm gonna steal that from Dan.
Yeah.
No, what? How? That's crazy. I tried. You know what's so funny, dude? I went on the site. Like I didn't even know that they were putting the console and the controller out because I wasn't watching E3 at the time. I just happened to just be like, oh, I'm gonna check out the Xbox site, and I just went on and I saw the console and the controller available, but I didn't know any. I was like, oh, dang, these are kind of cool. I might pick that up in a couple of days. And then I go back and I see the video, the trailer for it, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get that now. I go back 10 minutes later, gone. I'm like, oh,
dude. So what happened with Dan is I told him because I work from home, right? So he actually has to go into the office, so he can't look at his phone or be on the computer all the time. So I just had a window open while I'm doing my work, and it's sitting there. And I'm refreshing. I had Best Buy open, I had Walmart open, I had Target open. And I told him, I was like, "Hey, give me your credit card. I'll put it in, and then when I see it, I will go after it like none other." And it took me 3 times to do it because Walmart kept jacking up, the order and. I was able to secure one through GameStop. That's supposed to be coming out, here in the next week or so. So it should be delivered, and then I'll have him come pick it up.
Yeah.
So he's still running on an Xbox One. We're trying to play Aliens, the Fireteam Elite, and there's parts where his whole audio just completely goes static because his system can't run.
Yeah. We'll
everything that's happening and the chat.
Yeah, I'm really interested
so he's just losing
in
us
the
all the
VR
time.
aspect for
so it'll
the
be
Sony
neat
too.
to have him
I'm actually kind of
brought up.
really holding
that'll
off
be what
because
he's running
I really
on
want that VR
after that.
And I know they're going to do something.
Halo Infinite, when that comes out,
amazing.
we can
they
run
have some
through
really
it.
good plans with it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the PlayStation VR 2. They are changing their controllers to make it look more Oculus. I think it's going to have a better 1-to-1 ratio for using it. And then, it'll have better graphics in the visor. It'll be more like 1440p and stuff like that. So all that tech stuff. So
yeah,
I'm very excited about it, to say the least. But cool, man. Well, are you watching anything, or are you just
give me a second here, break,
kind of just playing the Xbox in between work? Or
give me a sec, you're kind of breaking up.
Okay,
hold on. Okay, there we go. I think my computer is overheating or something, so
it might be. Discord runs things pretty hot, so
it does, huh? Maybe I turn the light down. That'll help. Okay. Anyways, I've been playing. Okay, where were we at?
So, do you just play your games on the Xbox when you're not working on music and doing the day job, or is there anything that you're watching? Anything that kind of popped out, that whole Netflix or Apple TV or anything?
Yeah, I started watching a lot of weird stuff, lately too, over the last year. Just, that's funny. There's this show about video games on Apple TV called Mystic Quest. Have you heard of it or seen it?
I haven't seen it. It's on my list, though. That's going to be one of the things I'll jump onto.
The guy from... Yeah, it has a guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and stuff. So, Grandma's Boy is a pretty funny movie, and it represents the video game thing, in a humorous way. I felt like Mystic Quest is very accurate. It's very close to what it's actually like. obviously it's humorized like The Office or something, but yeah, it's pretty close. So I actually got really into that show because after so many years of doing this, I was like, what's the point? You know? and then watching that show, like in a weird way, made me realize that that there's that making games with other people is kind of the big picture fun, you know?
Yeah.
Collaborating and making stuff and making something that's larger than just you by yourself. I think that's the really cool thing about games. You know, it's a very interesting media with so many different music and visuals and
Right. And the players to the extent, you know, where it brings a lot of people together just as a fan, you know, like you and I meeting at GameStop talking about games with nothing else going on, you know what I mean? Like that's how we connected initially, and like that kind of shit, you know, sticks for a lot of people, which is really cool. So
there's a lot of community around gaming that, I mean, honestly, throughout COVID, I wasn't watching a lot of stuff because me and my friends were trying to stay in contact by playing Xbox Live, you know, like playing and just chatting online and using it as a space to keep up with each other.
That's the perfect way to do it. I think that's what made the gaming take off so much. And that's why it's so hard to get these consoles, and, you know, video games have not done better previously than they are right now. You know, they've hit an all-time high because, you know, that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to find that social aspect while being stuck in the house. So, well, cool. Jeremy, thank you very much, man. It was a fucking pleasure talking to you on here.
Yeah, it's no problem. Yeah, this is like, you know, I'm not, I know I have trouble answering certain things, but this has been really cool.
No, it was awesome, you know? So I was thoroughly, you know, enjoying listening to your conversation, or listening to our conversation, being part of our conversation about, you know, what you do and your music and shit like that. So everyone needs to go check out the album. Again, where can people find you?
I'd appreciate that. This album is pretty cool. I'm going to be writing more music and putting new stuff out and just, you know, trying to live life and be me. And it's Orphine. So it's OR. It's like morphine, but without the M, you know, pretty much. And Orphine, Cauterize. It's going to be on like iTunes. I have a video on YouTube that you can check out. I have another video that'll be coming out on Halloween. And this one it's all CG, and it's just totally 9 Inch Nails, disgusting and awesome. So, you know, if you want to check that out, it's pretty cool. And anybody who's into gaming and stuff too, you know, we're working on the new MX vs ATV. We have a great team behind it. We've grown a lot. We've learned a lot. And, you know, it's always a little scary coming into the end of a game development cycle. But, you know, I think just, you know, we've grown so much as a company that the quality of games we're making is just so much higher than when I started there. It's cool to see that growth too, you know, and I think it's, about time that I like even take it to the next level there, you know? So
yeah, fuck yeah, man. Cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Jabberbox episode 19. Thank you so much for joining us. And don't forget that we post each and every week about whatever it is we want to talk about. If you like that, please join us over on patreon.com/dandydigital, where you can write in and be part of the show and get the episodes early. If you have no bucks to toss our way, that's just dandy. Please find us and subscribe to us on YouTube and any of the podcast services, and rate us to help us grow the show into something bigger and better. Until next time, play on.
See ya.